Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Boris from MMA Late here, and we got a banger event ahead of us. At UFC 303 is this weekend, and it's got a banger card, alright? Conor McGregor was supposed to headline this card, but if allowed due to a pinky toe injury, pussy. Nah, I'm just playing. But, nah, Conor pulled out, which is understandable because he wants to be 100% after coming back after, what, like 3 years of not fighting. So, I understand that 100%. But we got a good one, and I feel like we can make some money. Last card, it didn't work out too good, but hey, this card, guaranteed, certified, 12 out of 12. We're just going to get straight into it. Let's go ahead and start with the first fight on the card. Ricky Simon versus Oliveira. All right, Oliveira, straight coming off that flying knee knockout on the Albanian. Supai, I believe his name is. And he's going to be fighting Ricky Simon, who's more of a wrestler, but he also does have these hands, all right? He has more fight experience on his in the UFC specifically. They both have 20 wins, but Oliveira has a lot more finishes. If we take a look at their resumes right here. So we got Ricky Simon with only 6 KOs, and he has been knocked out twice, all right? Versus somebody who has 16 knockouts out of 20 wins. That's pretty insane. But he has also been knocked out 3 times. And he's only had 1 fight in the UFC, 1 fight in the UFC Contender Series. And he was actually losing the fight versus Supai, but his opponent got tired, and that literally cost him the fight. Ricky Simon is not going to get tired. He's going to keep pushing, keep being aggressive. Also, Ricky Simon does have the wrestling advantage, all right? Oliveira is not too good. He gets taken down pretty easily, and Ricky Simon has that advantage right there. So honestly, just because of that, they're striking, Oliveira's striking might be a little better, but Simon's is not bad either. And since Ricky Simon does have that wrestling advantage, I feel like he does get the victory because of that. I'm going to be parlaying Ricky Simon in my parlays, but Oliveira, he's not a terrible underdog. I do love my underdogs, but I just feel Ricky Simon is going to be the stronger one in this fight. The next fight I want to talk about is Tsuruya versus Carlos Hernandez, all right? Honestly, I have not been able to see any footage on Ray. I just know apparently he's pretty good. But if you look at it, he averages 7 takedowns per fight, which is pretty crazy. I don't know if that's including all of his fights, but he hasn't fought in the UFC. This is going to be his debut, as we see right here. He's had the 3 road to UFC fights, and he's, won all 3 of them. He's still undefeated. But he's going to be fighting Carlos Hernandez, who has good grappling. And if you saw Bondar's KO, I'm going to call it a KO, but he literally knocked him out in the last 2 seconds, but the ref didn't call it, I guess because the fight had 2 seconds left, and he absolutely obliterated Bondar's face with brutal elbows. If you haven't seen that, look at that. It's pretty crazy. And also Hernandez goes the decision a lot of times, and look at that. He's barely winning these fights. So honestly, if I had to pick with how big of a favorite Ray is, I would go with him. People are confident in him. There's probably a reason for that. But I honestly have not seen too much footage of Ray. I can't give a confident enough pick for that. Next, we got Buday versus Andrei Arlovski, okay? I got Buday on this one. Even though he's a bit of a pudgy penguin, that boy's got some fat on him, a little bit more than Andrei. But I just can't get over the fact that Andrei's 45 years old, all right? 45 years old in the UFC. They both have the same amount of reach. Usually people's prime is it's crazy if they're fighting at 40, but 45 is ridiculous. It's time for him to retire. Maybe he will after this fight, who knows? But maybe he just wants the money. So yeah, for that reason only, I'm going Buday. I believe he should be able to get it done. He's Slovakian, so I like that as well. Skipping the girl fight. Never talk about those. Boom, next fight, Payton Talbott versus Yanis Ghemmouri. All right, Yanis is not too impressive from what I've seen from him. I mean, the odds speak for themselves. Payton Talbott is a minus 2,000. I wouldn't even probably put him in my parlay just because. Actually, I mean, he's not gonna lose, so why not? You know, why not put him in the parlay? Increase those odds just by a little bit. But hey, him by getting a finish is gonna be a lot less, so that would be a lot more worth it. Next fight, we got Charles Jourdain versus John Silva. All right. My pick right here is going to be John Silva. I'm going to tell you straight up, all right? John Silva, he's a dog. He pushes forward. He looks for that knockout. He hasn't had too much experience in the UFC. Charles Jourdain has had so much more experience in the UFC, as you can see right here. But he's losing to these guys. Look at this. He lost to Burgos. He lost to Nathaniel Wood. He lost to Woodson. These aren't the best guys in his ranking, you know. So, and he's losing to them. Compared to John Silva, John Silva also trains with the Fighting Nerds. All right, Fighting Nerds. They got some good fighters on their team, and this guy, look at this. Look at his resume. Just knocking motherfuckers out. He comes out to brawl. He's one of those brawlers, and I feel like John Silva does get it done. And he's an underdog, plus 100 underdog. Definitely throw him in your parlay. Our next fight I want to talk about is Cub Swanson versus Andrei Fili. This is a tough one for me because the only thing that's throwing me off from Cub Swanson is his age, 40 years old, all right? They both have similar records. You know, Cub Swanson is 29-13, Andrei Fili is 23-11. I like Andrei Fili. I'm leaning more towards him because he's just quick, all right? He's quick and he's good at throwing those combinations and putting something together. But Cub Swanson, like he has a lot more knockouts. If you look at that, 13 knockouts. Well, not a lot more, but he has 13 knockouts. But he's been KO'd 3 times. Andrei Fili has 10 knockouts and has been knocked out 4 times. If we look, Andrei Fili got knocked out by Dan Ige in the first round. That's not saying too much because Dan Ige is a dog. He's one of the best in that division. But look at Cub Swanson's resume. He's knocked out Dawadu. No, he didn't knock him out. Look at Cub Swanson's resume, man. A lot of his fights end in knockout, whether it's him getting knocked out or him doing the knocking out. But that one's tough to say. I'm gonna lean more towards Andrei Fili just because of the age, man. I feel like they're pretty similar in terms of skill. So I'm gonna go ahead with Andrei. I feel like he's gonna be the faster fighter and he's gonna be able to find Cub Swanson's chin. Even if it's not a knockout, I believe Andrei Fili can get it by decision by outpointing Cub Swanson. Next, we got Joe Pyfer versus Barlot. I believe that's how you say his name. This one should be a pretty easy fight for Joe Pyfer. Marc Andre is good. If you look, he got a split decision loss to Chris Curtis. Marc Andre's a volume fighter, all right? He's probably not going to knock you out, especially someone like Joe Pyfer. He's probably going to win by decision if he does win. But honestly, I got Joe Pyfer. I feel like he can take him down to the ground. I feel like Joe Pyfer can knock him out. You know, he's a hard hitter. Supposedly, he hits harder than Francis Ngannou. I don't know how accurate that is, but I did see that video of him punching the punching machine indicator thing. But yeah, honestly, I got Joe Pyfer. All right, that's it for the prelims. Time to get into the good stuff, the main card. All right, first fight on the card, which I believe should be a co-main, Ian Garry versus Michael Page. All right, so originally I had Ian Garry, okay? I felt like he would keep his distance really good, but Michael Page, man, I rewatched both their last fights, and I just feel like Michael Page is going to be able... They both like to keep their distance, right? But Michael Page keeps his distance on a whole nother level, right? He has the longer reach compared to Ian Garry, so he's going to have that advantage there. The only thing I could see Ian Garry doing is possibly throwing a head kick and knocking Page out with that kick, just because Page keeps his hands down. But I feel like Garry won't be able to do that just because Page keeps his distance so much, and when he lunges at you, you don't have time to throw a kick like that. You know what I'm saying? He's quick. He's unpredictable. That unpredictableness is gonna give Ian Garry a tough time. Man, this is gonna be a good fight. I'm curious to see how Garry does. Honestly, I was not impressed by Garry's performance in the Geoff Neal fight. Geoff Neal is a lot more of a type of brawler. He likes to fight in the clinch, and Michael Page is quite the opposite. He likes to keep his distance, and honestly, in the clinch, I feel like he might be even better than Ian Garry just because he throws those elbows a lot. That's going to be a lot of damage landing on Ian Garry. And I feel like Ian Garry doesn't really have a chin. He hasn't got landed on like crazy to test his chin. And I believe Kevin Holland's chin is a lot better than Ian Garry's, and Kevin Holland took some damage in that fight. Kevin Holland didn't fight the best. Ian Garry might fight a little bit better than that, but I still do believe Michael Page does get it done. All right, it's gonna be a close fight. You know, the odds are close. I believe Ian Garry is a slight favorite, but I'm going with Michael on this one. Once again, we're skipping the girl fight. The cursed fight. This fight has been canceled so many times. First, it was Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg. No. It was somebody even before that. Carlos Ulberg. No, I think that was the first fight. Then it was Carlos Ulberg versus Anthony Smith. Then Carlos Ulberg, something happened with him. And now it's Smith versus Roman. All right. Roman looked absolutely piss shit in his last fight versus Imavov. Imavov is a great fighter. He's one of the best in that division. But Roman just looked sloppy, slow. It's like he wasn't training and he wasn't able to. And because of that, it showed in his performance. That's my guess. I'm not too sure. But he's fighting Anthony Smith, the most unreliable motherfucker in the UFC. The most delusional motherfucker in the UFC. He thinks he can get a title shot versus Alex Periera. For what? Look at all these L's you've been taking against the top 10 in the division, man. You're getting knocked out by Roundtree. And honestly, a good comparison to me is Roundtree and Roman. They're both big ass dudes. Roundtree's a little faster. He's a little bit more precise. Roman just kind of throws kind of sloppy, man. He just throws these big ass overhands. Like that's his only thing he has, like that one overhand. So yeah, for this fight, supposedly Roman is a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. He just never uses it. So I don't believe Anthony Smith gets the sub on him. I don't know. I can see Smith getting the decision win, or I can see Roman getting a KO. It's gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna be staying away from this. But if I had to lock one in, I'm gonna go with Roman just because Anthony Smith, he's been looking fat, man. He's been looking fat, out of shape. I feel like he'd get a lot more in shape, and I feel like it's just the decline of his career, man. He's fighting the best of the best, and you can't hang with the best of the best. So I got Roman, but yeah, like I said, I'm not confident in that pick. Now we're getting to the good stuff. All right, we got Brian Ortega versus Deigo Lopez. I'm gonna start off by saying I got surprised as hell by Brian Ortega. Comes off a 3-year layoff and destroys Yair Rodriguez in a greatly fashion. All right, Yair Rodriguez's takedown defense was piss poor. He was not able to do nothing versus Brian Ortega. His striking wasn't even on par. Brian Ortega's striking looked even pretty good. But he's fighting Deigo Lopez, who has as good, if not better, jiu-jitsu. Honestly, I feel like Brian Ortega's jiu-jitsu is a little bit better. But Deigo Lopez has the jiu-jitsu. He has the better striking, all right? He has it all. And I feel like he has even more fights, and he's been in the UFC way less. Brian Ortega, how old is this motherfucker? 30. Wow, Brian Ortega is 33 years old. Yeah, I thought he was older than that. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm going with Deigo Lopez. He's a dog. He comes in a fight. If you watch his past 3 fights, he just comes in there aggressive as hell. He's out there to kill. And I feel like he has those hands. And I feel like he's going to be able to finish Brian Ortega. And for the main event of the evening, this is going to be a great one. The first one, I love that fight so much because it was kind of competitive. But I'm going to tell you where I see both of these fighters striving at. All right. Alex Periera. Those leg kicks, man. They were doing great in the first fight. And you would think Jiri hear this. Jiri fights Alex Periera. He's getting absolutely demolished by those leg kicks. He goes into a Rockets fight. You would think he's going against another like kickboxer type guy. You would think he would try to learn how to avoid them. Maybe work on that. Maybe not. Maybe learn how to avoid them just a little bit more. No. In the Rockets fight, this man just constantly taking leg kicks after leg kicks, making him lose his balance, lose his rhythm. But you know where Jiri strives? When he pushes hella aggressive, balls to the wall, all right? If you look in the last Alex Periera fight, he was having success when he was just pushing, swinging, throwing these combinations, but he got caught when he got a little too comfortable. So I feel like if Jiri can push but not get too comfortable to where he's just leaning in all the time, he has to lean out every time he fucking goes in there to brawl. But Alex Periera got that motherfucking left hook that could put anybody to sleep. As you saw, it put Jiri to sleep. Debatable. I don't know. I don't believe it did, but it did drop him for sure. And then Alex Periera was able to finish it with the elbows. But I doubted Alex Periera so many times, and he's proved me wrong over and over again, all right? I always said to myself that he's just a one-hit wonder. He's got the left hook, and that's pretty much it. But he's proved those leg kicks are dangerous. You can't see them coming. That left hook is boxing. If you saw his video on his YouTube, he boxed like a 22-1 heavyweight boxer, and Alex Periera looked great. He looked like he's been doing boxing his whole life, even though, I mean, he did do kickboxing, but still, he was keeping up with the heavyweight boxer. It looks super impressive. Damn, this is going to be such a banger fight. You don't know what Jiri's game plan is. It might be to grapple. You know, if he does grapple, he will have that advantage over Alex Periera. But I believe Alex Periera has been training that as well. He's been training his takedown defense. I saw that he's been saying that he wants to use it a little bit more often. He wants to show people that, you know, he actually does have a good takedown defense, and maybe he's better on the ground now. But I'm going to go with Alex Periera for this, all right? But Jiri can get it done, so don't count him out. You better believe I'm placing parlays with both. But that's it. That's going to be my UFC 303 predictions. If you have any other opinions, please leave in the comment section below. Leave a like. Go ahead and subscribe. That helps me. Go ahead and like the video, please. That gives me motivation, and it helps share out the channel a little bit. So without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching, and peace.